Hello, welcome to Movie Musters. Power Book 2, Ghost, Season 4 Episode 1 Analysis. It's not easy for me to die. Are you prepared for the last run, guys? If you were unaware of this, and were happily living without it, I sincerely apologize. However, as the series comes to an end at the end of this season, this will be the final Power Book 2, Ghost premiere. Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1. They need a plan. Starz. Although I still can't get over that news, Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1's excitement did ease some of my anguish. We haven't seen Tariq and Brayden fleeing for their lives in a minute, so it was a wise choice to resume where we left off. Due of the numerous loose threads that need mending. There was none more crucial than Tariq and Brayden's epiphany that it was just them and the world. Tariq has been in dreadful circumstances since he was a young child. He was largely responsible for most of them, albeit some were his own doing. Tariq has made a lot of trouble for himself over the years, despite the fact that he has continuously demonstrated his high level of intelligence and resourcefulness when called upon. It's difficult to defeat him, and he always managed to come out on top. That path out materialized in the person of Brayden, his best friend, sibling, and occasionally adversary, who has consistently stood with him throughout moments of conflict. Episode 10 of Tariq Works Power Book 2, Ghost, Season 3. We would have been seeing them open this season with a few people standing around a graveyard saying goodbye to Tariq, while many men played softly in the background if Brayden hadn't appeared at the end of Power Book 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10. Without Brayden, he was a goner, and throughout the entire hour, their emotions alternated between total dominance, confusion, despair, and annoyance. Tariq doesn't get stuck without a plan very often, but initially he was at a loss for what to do. The look of absolute amazement on Tariq's face when he discovered everyone set him up for failure was clear evidence that he isn't used to others playing him the way he plays others. It was kind of funny to watch him and Brayden argue as they prepared for a Rambo reimagining. Their options were zero, and Tariq at least had a point, whereas Brayden would not stop raving about how awful his proposal was. When you have no money, many people want you dead, and you cheat death an hour in advance? Is that really a bad idea? Power Book 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10, Starz/Miles Aronowitz, features a meeting between Tariq and Brayden. Being Tariq, he would never pass away by lying down. He had worked so hard during Ghost's last days to have his life planned out for him, exactly the way he wanted it. He was so near it, and giving it up wasn't an option, which is admirable, but holy crap, he literally took a couple clips and a prayer and went to that plane hangar. Related, suspenseful scenes that left us speechless. Capturing Anya in an attempt to persuade Noma to sit down felt like the storyline of a Mark Wahlberg movie from the 1990s that has a 20% Rotten Tomatoes score. But once more, when you have nowhere to go, are there any terrible ideas? Anya will undoubtedly play a role in the future, but her entrance here was awkward because she was completely unaware of the mayhem going on around her. I'm not sure how Tariq and Brayden managed to pull off the ambush, but they've risked fate numerous times. However, it was a famous scene in the history of the show. Although Tariq and Brayden were never in danger of dying in the first episode of the season, I like that they had no easy times. Over the course of the hour, they were put through their paces and forced to scrape, claw, and think their way out of a number of horrible circumstances. Sibling Meeting Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1 PG-0401 I Don't Die Easy Starz. Although Drew and Diana's pathetic scheme to abduct Becca was desperate, it was nevertheless far more intelligent than Kane's dash to the Westons, believing that Brayden would be naive enough to flee after everything had transpired. After attempting to have their mother assassinated, Drew and Diana were experiencing very opposite emotions. It was intriguing to observe Diana's rapid collapse following Monet's one act of kindness toward her. She was saved by that good thing, but nevertheless, Monet has repeatedly shown that she will go to any lengths for her children, even if it means enduring horrible things, and Diana's attempt to retract the decision to have her killed made Drew very lustful. Watching Drew and Diana battle it out throughout the season as they attempt to hide their wrongdoings will be interesting because Drew appears to be sticking with his decision on Monet. On the one hand, it's hard to hold him responsible. Gordo is gone. Poppy is deceased. And Monet gets to pretend as though the suffering she caused her children can be completely forgotten when she hasn't even told them what she did. Despite his numerous facets, Drew's dissatisfaction with Monet will always remain valid. Sullen Drew Episode 9 of Season 3 of Power Book 2, Ghost, starz/Miles Aronowitz. To be honest, the entire family ought to be annoyed with one another. It is necessary to put out the poison that is emanating from those Tejada walls. Speaking of Monet, it was a beautiful touch that the individuals whose blood was on her hands were present in the purgatory she was caught in between. She was forced to listen to 3 men tell her everything about herself while she watched herself possibly die. Ramirez was all that was needed to make the point. Monet is one of several characters afflicted by the power universe superiority condition. Believing you are the brightest person in the room is the syndrome's key symptom. You might initially succeed in getting what you want, and it might work for a while, but something always bites back. Drew and Diana started their scheme because they were tired of the hurt, lies, and dishonesty that came with being Tejadas with a mother who made bad things worse. Power Book 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 9, starz/Miles Aronowitz, features a surprise guest. Mecca, also known as our greatest adversary to date, was speaking the truth. But who was Mecca to criticize Monet? He wasn't very good lover to her. And throughout their brief reconciliation, he wasn't some kind of guiding light. He may be upset that she dumped him, but let's be honest about our part in this, sir. Lorenzo was more justified in his anger. Even if he wasn't a very good person, he most likely deserved more than the hand he was handed. There was no reason his children had to bury their father the way they did. Monet, I gave our family my all in whatever I did. Lorenzo, were you killing me for our family? Mecca, oh, and leaving Zeke behind was entirely done out of familial duty. Link Permalink, oh, and leaving Zeke behind was all done out of love for family. Monet has always pretended to be acting in her family's best interests, and while she may think so, however, it was never true. She has always been selfish, vindictive, and more concerned with Monet's needs, wants, and aspirations than anything to do with the kid she gave birth to. Having said that, is she deserving of another opportunity to correct the wrongs? Who am I to pass judgment? Related, what does the future hold for Starz' popular franchise as Power Book 2, Ghost draws to a close? Now that she's dodged death, she has the chance to alter the dynamics and relationships with each of her children, but it won't be simple, especially after she learns the truth. I Don't Die Easy Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1 Always Ready PG-0401 Starz. And you're deluding yourself if you even for a moment believe that we'll get through this last season without her discovering that Tasha was the one who pulled the trigger, and that Drew and Diana intended to set her up. If there's one thing Power Season 6 taught us, it's that the sins of the past will never truly go away. Given Tariq's lengthy history of transgressions, it was intriguing that he had only Davis to turn to while he and Brayden were attempting to determine how to protect themselves. Furthermore, if Davis is the only person in your corner, then I wish you luck. Not that Brayden was much better, having destroyed the last bridge with his offal. A racist father, and to be honest, apart from Becca, no one in Brayden's family was a suitable fit for him. Tariq had good reason to despise his father, if he did. However, Tariq was not raised in a household where he was unloved or uncared for. Tariq outside Power Book 2, Ghost, starz/Miles Aronowitz, Episode 7. There was love, but they had a very unusual way of expressing it. Though Brayden's upbringing involved a different way of living, the love was absent. Now that we've seen enough of the Westons, we can conclude that Brayden will benefit by their cutting him off. Because they never respected Brayden or gave him a strong sense of affection, aside from their wealth and prestige. Despite their newfound kinship, he and Tariq sometimes seem to be treading carefully around one another. They're not the same, but we know that, and we've spoken about the similarities for ages, so I hate to always compare them to you-know-who. Brayden and Tariq suffered because of Riley, but they did not experience a single significant event from which they were unable to recover, but Ghost and Tommy's fraternity and relationship ended the moment Angela Valdez entered Truth. There has always been a rift in almost every connection, platonic or not, because Tariq has never been one to trust people completely. Episode 7 of Season 3 of Breaking Out Power Book 2, Ghost, starz/Miles Aronowitz. Not to mention that Brayden had given up on everything similar to the day before. Following Brayden's exile, the two had a pleasant yet lighthearted talk. Tariq was waxing lyrical about what life would be like if they hadn't chosen to come into this life years ago, avoided prison, and peddled narcotics. See also, the greatest hate-driven couples on TV. Sorry, Tariq's full of it. He battled for this life because he desired it. To ensure that he could have the life he desired for herself, he killed his own father. He ensured that Tariq would never live in a world where his concerns were limited to finals and females. The clock was ticking once Noma placed a price on Tariq and Brayden's heads, and Power Ghost always produces action scenes with the ideal music. The highlight of the hour was definitely watching the two sprint around campus with assassins, and Kane and Effie following on their heels. It was a really classic Power scenario. When it seemed like everything was going to bring Tariq and Brayden to Kane and Effie, Junior appeared just in time for him to be slain. Tariq, were you the aunt of Angela Valdez? Brayden, Angela Valdez, who the heck is she? Tariq, attorney at law. She was the bitch of my dad. Link URL, prosecutor at the federal level. She was the bitch of my dad. Junior, young. Power Book 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 6, starz/Miles Aronowitz upset Brayden. A tiny part of me questioned whether Junior was being set up to be the one to bring Tariq down in the end, completing the circle for his family. But then, I realized that everything that happened to Angela was actually her fault, and she never wanted to be saved, so there's no avenging her. Therefore, it wouldn't have gone over well to have Junior save the day. I still didn't think he would pass away so quickly. Given the relationship between his family and St. Patrick's, you would think that he wouldn't have underestimated Tariq to the extent that he did. However, law enforcement in the Power universe is unsurpassed in its cockiness. In that parking garage, everything fell into Tariq's lap exactly as he needed it, even though it was really only a means of buying him and Brayden some time. They should have more time to consider their options now that they are unable to move merchandise, as they won't have to worry about getting slaughtered every single second of the day. Now that nothing has changed but everything has at the same time, they find themselves in an odd situation. Courtesy of Starz, Noma and Obi work PG-0401 I Don't Die Easy Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1. Tariq bought them, so they're safe. But how do they generate income these days? Do they simply return to school and carry out what exactly? Even though Noma didn't murder them that evening, they know that she's still hunting them and that, the moment she has the chance, she'll take another shot to eliminate the threat they represent to her. Could this be the point at which Anya resurfaces? Tariq needs to figure out how to make Noma step down completely, or divert her focus. He's now in New York City on borrowed time, so he'd better make the most of it by coming up with a plan. Furthermore, he is unaware of this Detective Carter, who appeared in confession with a frown and attractive eyes, promptly offering his assistance to a distraught Paz. Ready and Willing Tariq Power Book 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10. The block is still hot even if the bounty has been lifted. Everything additional you should know. Tariq was really disrespectful to Brayden before that, especially after everything Brayden had just done for him. But it was nice that he saved the day for Brayden and Becca. At the shooting range, did we miss Tariq and Brayden? Since they appeared much at ease as they prepared for their SWAT assignment. Covering his tracks. Power Book 2, Ghost, starz/Miles Aronowitz, Season 3 Episode 9. I'm sorry for Paz. She saw as Junior's ambition overcame him, and Angela threw away her life. When all is said and done, will her narrative end up being the saddest in Power history? Who is Denise now? Although I'm not an expert in Power history, I had a hard time recalling any instances in which Denise was killed in any of the shows. The bickering between Kane and Effie and their subsequent makeout was totally appropriate for them. But because Effie is erratic, Kane will go into difficulties if he falls in love with her. Tariq, beware? She continues to carry a torch for her former flame. Related, 13 characters who accepted the dark side and broke our hearts. There's potential in this new Drew. In the hospital, he urged Diana to suffocate her mother. Essentially abandoned her to hail an Uber on the street. He might be an issue if he maintains this level of enthusiasm throughout the season. Does anyone know her identity? We're back, baby. Given that this would be the final season, the premiere was quite good. In fact, I think it only gets better from here, so it really made me excited for what's to come. What do you think of the hour, and what you want to see this season? Please let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.